Hey, it's Mr. Random Pop Culture News Freak here once again, aka Mr. MannytendoWolverine. You guys are listening to this channel. On my social media links such as Twitter, X, Instagram, all that other good stuff. Hit the bell, like, share, comment, and if you really, truly, no pressure or nothing, you don't have to if you want to. Subscribe if you feel like it, and sub, leave the like, even though I hate saying that, but whatever. Anyway, so, absolutely wonderful, amazing, cataclysmically, absolutely underrated fucking badass film in the 90s. Not film in the 90s. Video game title IP from the mid-late 90s, back when I was 7, 8 years old, as the 90s, because at the time, my god, this shit spoke volumes. Absolute precious amounts of times when I was in the 90s or 2000s could I play. I don't think I ever played Gex 3. I wish I did. I played Gex 1 and then Gex 2 later on, Enter the Gecko, but it's getting a remake remaster. It's funny because last year, 2024, it was Croc. It was getting a remake remaster. It's funny. So now Gex the Gecko, I've been waiting for years. Even though I had one, I think in 2023, but I think that was just like I don't know if it was like a spiritual successor or something that was like a spin-off of Gex the Gecko. So that's why I didn't react to that one 2 years ago. But this is the official, actual one from LimitedRun Games. So I know it has to be legit if it's from LimitedRun Games. I know I said I was going to talk about video game industry stuff anymore, but I say I lied about it, but video games are still going to be my passion. Just the newer stuff that a lot of Gen Z, especially Gen Alpha, is going to be playing. Stuff that's just like all tablet stuff and VR only, and the gacha game shit, and stuff that has typical Genshin Impact, the Star Rails, and so on the series. Even though the animation for that shit looks good, but you always got to keep constantly paying microtransactions, and it just fucks you over all the time. You got to keep paying more jewels and jewels and jewels. It's like, to me, that's not video game. That's just being a sucker. The stupid ass, dumb fucking sheep R word. I really want to say the real word, but I can't because people are so sensitive about the R word. Just, think of the old school Black Eyed Peas song when they had to say said the R word. Not talking about the girls where they get hurt or any of that shit. I'm talking about the other one where people are idiots type of thing, but with the R word. The rhymes with the word started. I'll probably say it at the end of my videos and stuff, so that way people usually don't stick to the end of the videos. Very few do. Back in the early mid-2010s, even the 90s, 2000s, it was okay to say. And it's not because, oh, you're freaking making fun of people that have autism or any of that shit. It's not even because of that. It should just be for freaking being a dumbass idiot or a buffoon. That's all it was made for. And then again, I don't know, maybe not all Gen Z, but some Gen Z kids nowadays, and even the ones that are 20, just, they don't have thick skin. They're just soft fucking pussies most of the time, which is kind of sad. Coming an older boomer millennial, man. I had some real thick ass skin to survive elementary, middle school, and high school back then. This is before social media was a thing. Until like I got into high school, my sophomore, junior year, when social media was just barely starting to begin. With the old school DeviantArt, how old school Daily Booth used to be, and that's gone now. Even the shit that had with freaking, what's it called? Kick, and not Kick, but it's way before Kick existed. Way before I don't remember what it was called. It was Blip TV and Blog TV and Stickcam. That was the real pioneer time of the internet, especially my junior, senior year. That was a lot more bigger year in high school. And once I got to, I didn't community college, I think after I finished my university in 2012, that's when I think 2011, 2012 was like, that's when a lot of mainstream media boomers and all that shit started following a lot of social media shit at that time. That's when it became almost the thing that it is today in 2025. But now there's all this misinformation, disinformation, fake news and all that shit, and now it's AI and all that shit, and chat GPT, so it's way more bigger beast than it used to be. Anyways, enough of the rambling bullshitting. Gex the freaking Gecko. This is like one of my old school childhood nostalgia. I know in 2017-18 they brought back Crash Bandicoot, Spyro Dragon, and Rayman and all that shit. So I'm glad after so many years now. And it's funny because I'll get to it in a second, but the same freaking studio thing that created Eidos, I think it's the same one that made Marvel's Avengers in 2020. And that ended up being a failure, but alright. Enough rambling, yapping. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Let's jump into it. And get ready for tail time. Oh yeah, tail time. And I'll even read the Wikipedia for it. Let's go. I hope it's as amazing
Clock
as it
says party time.
That's his 3-in-1 collection. No, that's definitely mid-late 90s there.
Like candy.
Oh, I remember that dude. Boss, guys. God, that's old. Oh, I remember this boss too. Oh, that fireball machine really was really hard. That was a real hard machine. Tail slap. He did the tail slap.
It's tail time.
It's tail time. Yep, that's what he say all the time. I used to love when he used to say that. It's tail time. He always had these crazy mid-late 90s, like, pop culture references. He always say the stupidest shit, but it was a fucking gut-bustingly super knee slapper laugh back in the day. Oh, I forgot he used to do wheels. And then eventually the Gecko Get, remember that one? Coming summer 2025. Okay. Oh, it's gonna be on the Switch again. Alright, cool. And that's gonna be really, really nice. So his thoughts, viewpoints, opinion, speculation, a few couple hot takes. I'm telling you, this shit, it better sell like hotcakes, man. I know, like, most of Gen Zers probably not really gonna give a fuck about a lot of platformer games, because most of them, not to say generalize all of them, if any people actually happen to be Gen Z kids, or dudes in their early 20s now, or girls in their mid-late 20s, who knows. So the thing is, if you don't have an appreciation for old school platformers, like the four I still like playing. Occasionally, I don't play them every single day like I used to. No, I'm a grown ass adult. I gotta pay bills and taxes, and I gotta work in my 9 to 5 job and shit. So I have way less time with gaming than I did back in the day. I only get to play like maybe like 2-3 times out of the month, and that's it. Most of the time I've been watching shit either on Netflix, but shit like rarely on Amazon Prime Plus or Apple TV. I'll watch occasional shit on there, sometimes once in a while, and rarely ever on Hulu. Not that much, because I'm owned by Disney, so you gotta have a Disney Plus account for that shit. And I don't support Disney either. I sail the high seas for that, if you catch my drift. You see, if you know what I'm saying. But oh my god, dude. I just hope that this thing ends up being just as good. You know, a lot of Gen Zers probably the only way they'll be into it if they had like an older brother, older sister that was one of the millennials or boomer millennials that played a lot of platformer games. And then they played a lot of old school shit from Mario and Sonic era, Rayman era, where 2D and 3D platform was like king at that time. Because the only like FPS shooters that were real big at that time was stuff I didn't get to grow up with. I mean, I used to kind of like hear rumors about it, but I never really played it. But I didn't get until mainstream until like 1999, especially in the United States, if you know what I'm talking about. The whole, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say here on YouTube, but with that shooting thing that happened, in Colorado, where the whole thing with school, you know, pew pew pews ended up happening, is when the Doom game came out. And you know, it was 1992, 93, so I was still like 3, 4 years old. I was still freaking barely a baby in diapers when that shit came out. But I didn't even get to play the first like Doom game until way later on, like 07, 08. And by then, it was like real old as shit. And that's when Steam and the Portal and what's it called, Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, and Portal was like a real huge thing in the late 2000s and TF2 and all that shit. So I was like 18 or 19 when I first played the first Doom game, way later on. And then I kind of got into it a little bit, but I wasn't like hardcore deep into it. But it was still pretty badass as shit. Fortunately, it went mainstream, and then that's when the whole banning of video games started being a thing. And all these old viejitos, senior, actual boomers, the ones way older than me, not to be my great grandparents and grandparents at the time, like, that's when they wanted stuff like the Grand Theft Auto, Mortal Kombats, and Dooms would be like completely unavailable, and you can't buy this. This is poisoning our children's future. And this is when the whole Satanic Panic thing was big, so they were attacking a lot of the real cool madness and badassness, epic nostalgia shit that I like. Even though I wasn't a hardcore fan of the stuff that was like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, I still had an appreciation for it, but it just wasn't my cup of tea that much. But stuff like the typical Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball Z, especially with that, and Pokemon and all that was my bread and butter as a 90s kid. The only two other animes I really liked a lot besides that was either in the early 2000s when Inuyasha became a thing later on, typical stuff like the Hack Sign and the Fullmetal Alchemist, and what else? I forget what one was called. Big O. Even though it was Americanized anime, I liked it a lot. In freshman sophomore year of high school was the Megas XLR shit. That one was a fucking bop. That was a jam right there. That was pure gold chef's kiss of like badass anime back then. Even though it was Americanized anime, but a lot of Gen Zers, I know they grew up with stuff like the Avatar thing and Legend of Korra too. So I know I was like a sophomore, junior in high school when that whole Avatar came out, the Last Airbender thing. I never really got into that one. I saw like 2 episodes of it. And no offense to people that still like that show, but that it didn't like resonate with me that much. Not because it was Americanized anime. There's stuff that was done in France, stuff I like too, that had, you know, the whole old school shit. Like they had Code Lyoko, Totally Spies. It was just crazy. I know that was like a girly thing, but it was fun to look at that. I used to actually enjoy the hell out of that. It was like the French version of what the Powerpuff Girls was. I'm getting way off track. So, I'm just going to read the Wikipedia what it's about, because I know what it's about already, but I just wanted to read it with you guys. Okay, so this is the official Wikipedia thing for the whole original Gex the freaking Gecko. And ironically enough, the same people that made the original Lara Croft Tomb Raider games were the same ones that made Gex the Gecko. I didn't even know that was a thing until I think about 2 years ago. I was like, oh wow. Same ones that made the original Lara Croft games, and I think the other future ones were Crystal Knights and Edios later on. I don't know, Crystal Knights was second as Edios, I think, and I think it ended up going out of business later on. That's pretty wild. They were the same people that made that, but let's read it real quick. It says, Gex the Gecko, young anthropomorphic gecko, lives by himself, watches TV, and eats snacks. Has mansion in Maui, Hawaii. I thought it was like in a little trailer thing. I remember it was like in a RV thing he lived in. He lived in a mansion. Yeah, Maui, Hawaii. Which after he acquired after inheriting large sums of money following the death of his great uncle, while looking for good shows to watch after he was doing some nude funkercise. That's on it. The costume consumes a passing housefly. The housefly turns out to be an undercover drone controlled by Rez. If anyone knows what Rez is, that was the big giant robot machine, demon thingy, whatever, that starts trying to kill Gex. It's crazy, bro. Unalive. Yada yada. Pulls him into the media dimensions through a TV set, intending him to use Network's new mascot character to escape. Gex needs to traverse the media dimensions and finds remote controls and can use to destroy the TV sets, blocking the exit outside of the world. Gex fights his way through the media dimensions, finding remotes and defeating Rez's henchmen along the way, before eventually defeating Rez himself. He uses some of the tyrant's drones against him. Upon returning home, Gex resumes watching TV, wondering what was on his HBO. And because HBO was a lot more bigger at the time. And ironically enough, they're still around, because of the whole HBO Max that they did like 6, 7 years ago. I don't know. But I'm thinking a lot of like Gen Z, or especially Gen Alphas, will probably not even know what the fuck TV is by the time they get older. So yeah, other final thoughts using pen speculation. Sounds like a lot of the music's still the same, but it sounds a lot more HD, like 4K, 8K Ultra surround sound booth. That shit sounds bass boosted as frick. So I'm hoping this little green guy Gex, I don't know if they're gonna get the original voice actor like they did in the 90s. That'd be cool. Unless they're just gonna rip the sound file fonts from the older games and just revise it and just make it AI, which would kind of suck. But I don't even know if the original voice actor for Gex the Gecko's still around, and he might be passed away by now. I don't know. But, it's good to see this thing back. I'm glad. So some Gen Zers, even Gen Alpha, can see the gaming from the 90s used to be all the fuck about. You had to touch grass more at the times before like the smartphones and VR and AR and all those robot stuff and all that shit that we have with the little robot dogs and drones before all that shit. It's funny because I don't know if they pre-predicted the programming for like the housefly being a drone, that they knew drones were going to be a future thing in the early to late 2010s later on, and then now in the 2020s. Life is fucking wild. That's all I know. So I guess for no matter, cutting the outro short. Peace out, my circle. Anyway, see the whole side. Don't take into the jabs or the schemes of the vaccinated. And don't take into the hydrogel that big government, big pharma, big tech gives you. That's the price and the money. So out, do bye. See you next one. Take care, everyone. Later.